Hey! Yep, that is Narzi. Narzi the narwhal. She was featured in one of the other videos, but I don't know, I kind of felt like she didn't have enough airtime, so she is back again. Okay, so I'm gonna put a question in the chat for you to answer as kind of your, I don't know, question of the day thing. Hi, Serena. Oh no, lagging again. Okay, answer this question. I'm gonna put a raccoon up while you answer. Okay, there's the raccoon. Wow, you guys you're very like down to earth group of people. I think, let's see, in the time while I was watching you all respond, I was trying to like briefly think of all the places I've ever been. And Hawaii did come to mind because it's just super peaceful. It's like the only place I've ever been where like I would, frequently go like swim in the water and whatnot. Not that I like don't like swimming. I think I just like I don't like feeling cold, like getting out of water. So sometimes I'm like, it's just not even worth it. But at Hawaii, it's like still really warm in the water and out of the water. So it was like super nice. I also thought of England. I went to England several years ago, and there was this town that I stayed in for a few days called Canterbury, and it was just, I really liked it because it was kind of like a small-ish town, not like super tiny or anything, but it didn't feel like city. It wasn't like the pace of London or anything like that. And in the middle of the town, it was like cobblestone streets, and it was pretty much like it was a street, but cars didn't really drive on it. It was mainly like people just walked in the street, and I don't know. It was just a kind of a nice change of pace, I guess. And then you just have like little stores on either side of you and stuff like that. So, and those are the two places of all the places I've traveled to. Those two stand out to me. But I am also with all of you that said at home, because home is where I make my food, and my food's important to me. Nice. Okay. All right. So just a couple announcements. I'm sure you already know this, and I know some of you have already have been like submitting your stuff, but just as a reminder, the Google form link for submitting Units 6 and 7, which was Evolution and Ecology, that is up. And ideally, you should be, because you finished Ecology like before I even came here, or, came to be your substitute teacher. So ideally, you should be done with that already. So you should submit that like now, or whenever you can. Yeah, Curtis, what's your question? Yeah, we're almost done with 8. Kenny will finish next Wednesday. Yeah, you take a video of all the pages. So because I can't, pick up your notebook and like look through everything, you have to make it possible for me to do that virtually. So you can't just like, skim over all the pages and like I'm not able to read anything because it's either not zoomed in enough or it's going too fast or whatever. So it has to be, you have to, you don't have to like, leave the camera on the page for a long time or anything because it's a video. I can always pause it. Just as long as you're zoomed in enough that like I could read it if I paused it. You don't really have to say much unless you think that you should explain something. Like if you think that I or Mr. Wang might not understand what's happening on the page you're showing us, then you should say like, oh, like this is, whatever. You don't need to do anything else except the video. There is no Unit 9. We're on Unit 8 right now, and it's the last unit. And Unit 8 is going to finish up next Wednesday. So I made sure the last assignment was Wednesday, and so then that leaves, like, you have some time to finish up and try to turn it in at the end of the week or something like that. Does that make sense? Were there any other questions? Anything I should clarify about turning in your videos? And make sure you do your quizzes too, because the those quizzes are part of, you know, you're getting points for those quizzes. When the unit, well, yeah, basically, finals. So the last day of instruction is May 15th, which is next Friday. So technically, and I don't, you know, again, I don't know if your other teachers are following this. I'm just doing this because that's what I was told that I should be doing. The last day of any instruction, any new material or assignments or anything is supposed to be next Friday. And the week after that, which is normally review week for finals, it's kind of, you can be reviewing for your finals, but also like, you know, just finishing up stuff to turn in and catching up if you got behind in anything. And then the week of finals is finals, but you'll have like a week to take your finals. So like, it's not like, well, okay, I don't know if every teacher's doing it this way, but I know for sure that Mr. Wang is going to put up the final, like, yeah, it's going to be like a Canvas exam, Canvas quiz, a large Canvas quiz. And it's going to be like available for like a whole week, and you can just take it whenever it's convenient for you to take it. And then you'll be done. It'll be summer. It's officially summer vacation, even though it's kind of been like a halfway summer vacation so far. And then speaking of quizzes, your last quiz for Unit 8 is going to be on Monday. So it's just going to be, finals week is next week. So like the last week of May. Yeah, so your last quiz is going to be on the lecture from last week, which was like living unsustainably, and the lecture on pollution and waste. So just those two lectures, I'm going to make a quiz on it. I'm almost done with the quiz. Final will be multiple choice, I think, mostly. Don't quote me on that. I can ask. Here, I'll write that down. I'll ask about that. Truthfully, I don't think Mr. Wang even knows the answer to that, because he hasn't like fully finished like finalizing the details for AP Bio's final or your final. So I don't even know if I don't think there's an answer to that question right now. I do know it's going to be 150 points, though. But, like, if you submitted all your notebook checks and did all your, the final is in, not next week. Next week is still school. Next week we're finishing up Unit 8. It's in 2-3 weeks. Like, I think you could start doing it and you could take the final in 2 weeks, but it, like, you have like an entire week to take it. Yeah, the 25th to the 29th May. And if you have like all your notebook checks submitted and everything, like, and you get like, your full points on everything, and you did all your quizzes and you got all the points on your quizzes, you should feel pretty, I mean, depending on what your grade was before we started the distance learning, you should feel pretty like not stressed. Like, I'm not saying not to do well in I'm not saying not to do well in anything. I'm just saying that, like, like realistically, if you have a very high grade, you can afford to not do well in one thing, and it's not going to like your grade probably couldn't drop low enough to not get credit. I mean, it's a little bit of a numbers game. I'm not advocating to like not do things or to not study for things or to not try your best. I'm just saying that, like, if you are overwhelmed and or you have a lot of other demanding classes, just because I know you're juggling a lot, it's not like you just have biology, you have other classes, and I don't know how much work your other classes are giving you. So I'm just saying that, you can kind of just think realistically about the numbers, and you know that you only need to be above 60% to get a credit. Are there any other questions about finals, videos, notebook checks, timeline of events? There's definitely no new information about school starting in July, so no new updates about that. Okay, so there won't be your credit, no credit. It doesn't affect your GPA because it's not a grade. So like it won't increase or decrease your GPA. It just means that, like, because biology is like, or like, you have a science requirement for high school to say that you did this in high school so that you're eligible to graduate high school. So if you have credit for it, then it satisfies that requirement, so that when you're applying to colleges and colleges are saying you need to have taken so many classes of science or whatever, you can say that you've done that and it's not going to affect your GPA. Okay, anything else that I should clarify about? I mean, pretty much, like, if you got credit in all your classes, I mean, it just looks like, there's nothing really to look at, because it's just like, it doesn't say anything about, how well you did in the class or anything, so it probably wouldn't mean much to colleges. And they're also going to be understanding that, like, this was such a weird time and everything, so no, on your transcript it's just going to say credit for this semester, or no credit. That's it. Oh, okay, yes. For the notebook check, you should show me the assignment sheet at the very beginning, just so like I have something to kind of refer back to, or I can check to see like if you have just like I can reference if I think you're missing something, then I can go back to your assignment sheet and let me see what was going on. Yes, you can do that. Whatever is easiest for you technologically. I just have to be able to read what's in the video. Also, I think Christy, I think the American education system Well, okay. Such a large question. I mean, okay, first of all, there's already a lot of problems with the American education system in the first place. That should be changed anyway. Um, if you're asking like, do you think that online distance learning is going to become more present in our lives just because of what's been happening? I would say maybe for the next year or so, schools are probably going to be ready for something like this, or maybe kind of like have this more of a contingency plan, just so teachers aren't kind of like caught off guard or something. Like I know a lot of companies now who are they're getting ready to eventually maybe have people come back to an actual work location, but a lot of companies are also trying to reconfigure their working situation so that people can work from home more flexibly, or people are more spread out, or whatever it is. So I would say that also in the configuration in schools might also be changed around a little bit just to be more prepared for something like this in the future. Table of contents at the beginning of the note. Oh, okay, Curtis, no, I don't need to see. All I would want to see is the assignment page for the beginning of the unit. And then you can show me like all the different assignments in the unit. The format of your final, it's an online quiz, like a very large Canvas quiz that goes for 150 points. Multiple choice is definitely going to be a common type of question. I don't know if Mr. Wang's also going to like have short answer questions or whatnot, and I would say that he's probably leaning towards more multiple choice. I'm not promising because I think he hasn't really figured this out himself yet. So he's still in the works of like planning this. But I'm just saying that from a teacher's perspective, if you had a lot of short answer questions, like the beauty of the Canvas quiz, if it is multiple choice, is that you can say this is the correct answer, and then Canvas is going to grade it for you. So obviously, if you have a short answer, Canvas can't grade that for you. So like you or me as the teacher, or Mr. Wang, because I'm not even going to be here by the time you take your final, he would have to manually grade that himself. Now, Mr. Wang has a new baby. He's a very busy father who's probably not getting much sleep. I would guess, if I was his student, I would guess that he wouldn't really want to spend a whole lot of time manually grading, 100 and something questions for your final. Your score will not go down if your notebook is disorganized, as long as I can. I would just appreciate if you, well, I mean, like, as you go through, so Tristan, to answer your question, as you're like, showing me, okay, this is assignment 1, this is assignment 2, or whatever it is, even if you kind of went out of order and you're like, here's assignment 4, here's assignment 8, or whatever, I'll probably just be like, checking off like, okay, assignment 4, check, assignment 9, check, assignment 2, check, or whatever. So I just need to see that it's there somehow and just account for it. I would appreciate, though, if you went in numerical order. That's okay if worksheets were stapled into your notebook. It's also okay it is perfectly fine if you didn't print anything out because A, you don't have a printer, or B, you actually care about the Amazon and you just wrote everything in your notebook. Either way is fine. Any other questions? Okay, cool. So I would love to know, you know, what happened with your trash audits. Those of you that did trash audits, I just looked at mine, so I wrote it down. I can tell you what's. I mean, a lot of plastic wrappers in mine. Like, you know how like if you buy bread at the grocery store, it comes in like the bread bag or whatever. So, yeah, I would say like most of my trash is coming from, you know, food related stuff, which I already knew that it would be like that because I've this is maybe like the third time I'm doing a trash audit, and most of food related stuff is packaged in something that you have to throw away. The tin coverings for yogurt. I had a couple juice boxes in there just because my mom gave me, and this was like a while ago, like over 6 months ago. She gave me like this giant pack of juice boxes as a housewarming present when we first moved in to our apartment. So, and I haven't quite finished them yet. So I had a couple juice boxes. I had a medicine pack that was like, it's one of those things where like you punch out the different pills or whatever, and so, I mean, when I finished that, throw that away. Tofu packaging, because I just cooked lunch before this, and I used tofu. Yeah, I mean, mostly food. I mean, there were a couple, no, Kenny, your points will not be deducted for disorganizedness in your notebook checks. I mean, yeah, I would say like, you know, even like aside from just food relatedness, most of my trash is like when I bought something. It doesn't have to be food related, like, you know, toilet paper or paper towels or whatever, and the product that I actually want, it comes in some sort of outside packaging, and you know, I have to like, you know, rip it off to and like throw it away or whatever. Yeah, so I'm thinking, and like this, the last time I did a trash audit, I kind of wanted to make it a goal to try to reduce the food packaging waste that I'm throwing away. And I mean, some of it is more doable than others. Like you know, all of my shredded cheese that I ever buy comes in a plastic bag thingy, and I don't think, I mean, like, unless I made my own cheese, which I can't because I don't even have my own cow or anything, and I don't plan on like doing that anytime soon. So like, I mean, I'm not even like thinking about that, but stuff like I think like the bread one, like, you know, maybe I could try making my own bread. Not all the time, because I don't think I'm like ready for that yet, but like maybe once in a while try making my own bread. And so then instead of having to go to the grocery store and buy bread that's in a bag, I just have my own bread that I didn't put in a bag. The other thing I was thinking, you know, if I don't have time to make bread, oh, that is so nice. I don't know how to make bread. I really should learn because I love bread. Local bakeries, like, I don't know if any of you guys know about Backhouse. It's a German bakery. I don't know if like they're like, I think they're like German based or whatever, but it's a bakery in downtown San Mateo. And I remember I went there once and I saw that their bread, like they first of all, they make bread like and they sell it, like just whole loaves of bread, and it, you know, they just put it in a paper bag, and then, you know, paper bag is first of all recyclable but also compostable, and so then you just have your bread and you have like nothing that's, you know, trash. So I was thinking, you know, that's an option too. I could buy bread from a bakery, and then you're less likely to, you know, have it in some sort of package, or make my own, or maybe just like make friends with someone that makes their own bread, and have a trade system or something. So yeah, those are kind of the things that I've been thinking about, is like, especially because I can't think of a single snack that you buy at the store that doesn't have some sort of packaging that you have to throw away. And kind of the unfortunate truth that kind of dawned on me is that if I really wanted to stop having, like, because I had like cookie wrappers that I threw away because like for Christmas, we were given this giant tin of like these individually wrapped or individually packaged cookie thingies. And it's like, you know, any snack thing, if I wanted to like reduce my waste of like, but also have snacks to eat because I like snacking, that would probably mean that I have to like make my own snacks, or, you know, go to like somewhere like Sprouts or Whole Foods where like in their bulk bin sections they have some snacks, but it's like, you know, they don't have all the different types of snacks. Like, I've never seen like tortilla chips in the bulk bin section, but that's okay because I made my own tortilla chips a few days ago for Cinco de Mayo. Oh, I love Paris baguette. So good. I made my own tortilla chips because I really wanted chips, but then I just kept thinking about like chip bags, and so I got a pack of tortillas for my mom, and I made my own tortilla chips. And I mean, I know the tortillas themselves are also in like a plastic bag, but like, I don't know, I'm working on it, like one thing at a time. So yeah, I mean, they weren't like super fancy chips or anything, but like, I, you know, accidentally ate the entire thing in one afternoon, so good enough for me. Okay, so what other things were in your trash audits? Those of you that did trash audits. And is there anything that you, because I know like, was it the last, I don't remember if I had you do this in your trash audit or the other thing before it where it was like the fridge or whatever, but what is like one way that you could have eliminated something that's in your trash audit? So like I was talking about the bread thing. I mean, I may not get around to doing it anytime soon, but it's sort of like I've at least identified like this is how it could be done, even if I'm not necessarily willing to do it right now. It's 26 scans. Oh my goodness. Well, at least they're, you know, it's aluminum, so it's recyclable. And did anyone have any questions about figuring out like a rate of trash accumulation? / did anyone or like, here's a better question. If you hadn't done that part yet because you were still confused, go ahead and ask any questions that you have about that if there was something confusing. If you already did it, why don't you put in the chat what your rate was and put the units, because by units I mean like you know, they're going to be different for each person depending on how you determined your rate. Like, so let's say, you know, Serena noticed in her trash audit there's 26 cans in here. And then she decided, I'm just gonna base my entire rate off of, like, you know, aluminum cans. And so she was like, 26 cans per week, 26 times 52 is not math that I can do in my head, but, you know, some large number of cans a year or something like that. Yeah, you know, Kenny, I have, I also have that same hesitation about, like, you know, making fried things, because it's like, what am I supposed to do with all that oil? Because, you know, I can't put it down the drain, and then I just have to save it and recycle it. But then also it's like kind of a waste. So, you know, I mean, I have thought about, like, maybe just having a different, like, jar or something that's like used oil, and I can use it again for something else, or I don't know. But yeah, because, like, I made you know, I made falafel one time. It didn't turn out very well because I forgot, like, a really crucial ingredient. But you have to, like, fry it, and I was like, it's so much oil that I'm using. Okay, so what were some of your trash rates? Serena, I know you did the audit, so what was the rate that you came up with? And Kalia, what did you come up with? Because I know you did it too. And Curtis. 78 bags in a year. Okay. Oh, okay, so you, like, filled up 1.5 bag. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. That's a good way of thinking about it. Does that make you feel like that's a lot, or is it kind of like, that sounds about right, or? Because, I mean, like, I don't know how many people are in your house, so, like, that, you know, 1.5 bags might be, you know, a lot or neutral, or 1,352 cans in 1 year. Okay, so 1.5 bags a week probably is, like, pretty good, I think, for, like, 6 people. A lunch bag of trash a day. A day. Okay. Do you think that's a lot for yourself, Kenny? Yeah, I don't really drink soda either, so I don't really contribute aluminum cans. I do use a lot, okay, not a lot, but, like, I use, like, cans of food frequently just because it's convenient. So, but I think those are made of tin cans. I mean, still recyclable, I guess. Well, I'm glad to see that some of you, did your trash audit. I think for me, it's just like, it's helpful to kind of, it's sort of like having a little bit of accountability. So it's sometimes helpful to remind myself, like, this is how much I'm, like, throwing away, because I always think that I don't throw that much stuff away, but then, like, when I do a trash audit, even this last one that I did, like, it's like, oh, there's, quite a bunch of stuff I still throw away. And some of it has to do with, like, I'm still, like, trying to transition into a, because it's kind of like, you're eventually going to throw away the stuff that you bring into your house, like, groceries or whatever, or the things that you accept into your house will eventually have to be, if there's wrapping around it, eventually has to be thrown away. So I'm still, like, trying to slowly transition to a, where I'm bringing in maybe, like, less plastic in my grocery stuffs or my food purchases, so then I have less that will inevitably be thrown away. It's a work in progress, a very slow work in progress. Yeah, so next week it's gonna be, I mean, I don't know if you've been feeling like this class has been, pretty chill, not too difficult. But, like, next week particularly, next week we're really just wrapping up the human impact unit. So Monday it's going to be clothes, and that one I really just did for fun. Like, I think it's just going to be, like, a fun thing to, like, look in your closets and kind of, I don't know, see what's going on with in your clothes and stuff like that. So I just thought that would be a fun activity. That would just be interesting. That's why I threw it in there. And then just kind of, we'll just talk about, like, solutions and stuff like that, and that'll wrap up the human impact unit. So yeah, you're, like, pretty much almost at the end. So yay! So we have about 10 more minutes. Is there anything you wanted to ask about the plan for next week, or, I don't know, ask me anything, or ask about anything? Oh, I put up a Mother's Day video thingy under the agenda for tomorrow. I mean, like, it's not an assignment or anything, but you should watch it. I think it's a really sweet video. Maybe you've already seen it. It's pretty old. It's by Jubilee, which is a YouTube channel that I used to follow a lot. Not that, like, I don't like them anymore or anything. I just stopped keeping up with their new content. But I really liked this video because it was just super sweet. Oh, did I tell? I can't remember if I told you this or told you guys this. Did I tell you about the dead melon that I buried in my mom's yard? this like ringing a bell to anyone? Okay, I'm gonna assume I didn't mention anything about the melon. So basically, not last weekend, but the weekend before that. Okay, yeah, I didn't mention this. Okay, so 2 weekends ago or something, I was at my mom's, and then she was. So every time I go to my mom's, when I'm getting ready to leave, she's always like, oh, do you want this? Do you want this? And it's like, you know, food stuff, because she's like a hoarder, food hoarder, and then she was asking like, oh, do you want a butternut squash? And at first I was like, no, because those things are like notoriously very difficult to like cut. And this was like this is not like the pre-cut butternut squash at Trader Joe's or anything. It's like a full-on like actual melon that was like, you know, grown, and you know, a whole melon. So I already knew it was like, that would be like really hard to cut, and I don't have like, you know, giant cleavers in my kitchen to like be cutting up a melon. So I was like, nah, I don't want a melon. I can't cut it. I'm probably gonna like chop off my fingers if I tried. And then she went to go look at the melon, which was in her dining room. And then she's like, oh no, it died, because she left it alone, and then it started to mold in the dining room. I mean, in a plastic bag in the dining room. And then she was gonna throw it away, and I was like, don't throw it away. This is this is organic material. You should compost it. And then she's like, but it's moldy, and I don't want to like. A, it's not going to fit in the little compost thing in the kitchen. B, she didn't want to put it in the green bin, whatever, that you like take out for trash. So then I was like, well, you know, because, you know, they live in it's a house with a yard. So like, theoretically, she could compost things herself instead of always throwing it in the green bin. But my mom has never heard of such a thing. So I was like, you could just bury it in the dirt, and it's gonna decompose, and then like, you know, turn back into like, you know, the worms and other stuff living in the dirt. They're gonna turn it back into dirt, or turn the melon back into dirt or whatever. And then she was kind of skeptical. Like, she didn't believe me. She thought like if I buried a like moldy melon in the yard next to the basil that she was trying to grow, she thought it was going to like poison the basil. So she sent me outside. I had to go find a shovel, and it was like really warm, and I had to like dig a large hole in the kind of like near, not like right next to, but kind of nearby the basil plants. And then I buried this dead melon in our yard. And then the next week when I was talking to her, she was like, oh, the basil suddenly started growing like crazy. It's just thriving. And I was like, well, it's being fed by the nutrients of a dead melon. So yeah, now my mom's happy because her basil plants are thriving. Has anyone else ever tried you know, directly composting their own stuff, like via, I don't know, burying things in the yard, or energy cycle? This is the matter cycle, Christy. Your you know, nutrients from the biotic reservoir are gonna go back into the abiotic reservoir. Principle of sustainability, matter is always cycling, so now all the nutrients from the melon is going to go back into the dirt, and then the basil is going to use those nutrients, and then eventually we will eat the basil. Okay, any last questions for today about anything, or my weird life, or my narwhal? Did that flower start, growing really well? My dad buried my first guinea pig underneath our lemon tree that had never produced lemons before, and now ever since it has always produced lemons. No, Narzi is the only narwhal in this apartment, but she does have a manatee friend named Barbara. And Narzi is also pretty good friends with the dinosaur that you've seen before. Oh, well, hopefully those strawberry plants liked the fish. Oh no! I want to try growing strawberries. I love strawberries, and they're not like a very big, they're not a very big plant. Yes it is. That's why I named her Barbara. My best friend, we love that song, the Barbara Manatee song. It was like one of our inside joke things, and we would just randomly sing/yell it to each other at the top of our lungs. So we both got each other matching little manatee stuffed animals, and we both named them Barbara. Okay. I didn't know that. Candies. I like it better as vegetables, though. It just seems funnier that way. Alright. If there's no more questions, questions about school stuff, which I would, answer immediately. It's been really nice chatting with you today. Next Thursday is our last live stream together. Your last one with me. I'm sure, you'll still be live streaming with Mr. Wang. Maybe he'll join. I don't know. But, yeah, so next week's the last one with me, and then, we'll celebrate, that, the end of your human impact unit and the end of your schoolwork for biology. It'll be a good time. All right. Have a good weekend. I will see you. I'll see you next week. And just really try to try to have fun with the activities for next week. I really designed them just for you to kind of just enjoy it. So yeah. All right. Bye.